Good morning, and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. I'm David Steele, and here's me truck today. Today we have a Western Star 57X as a day cab. Now, if you've watched the channel before, it may not surprise you that this is the point where I say, but today's trip's a little different. And yes, no surprises, today's trip really is a little different. Let's go ahead and jump in the cabin. Alright. Take a moment to listen to San Jose. It's about 5:30, 5:15 in the morning. We're about to start our shift. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the truck. Okay, so we've got some low air pressure. That's kind of to be expected. A little different on the instruments there. Because, well, one, where's the engine sound? And two, consumption is 1.6 gallons per hour. What have you got in this thing? A 35-litre diesel? No, yes. No, I don't, rather. Today, we're running a fuel cell truck. Dum-dum-dum. This thing runs on hydrogen. And here's the interesting thing about hydrogen. Its volumetric efficiency is pretty terrible. That jargon, what that means is the quantity of fuel that you need to travel a given distance is pretty high. And the reason for that is it's not very energy dense. Hydrogen, I'm simulating the hydrogen fuel cell. I'm not changing the capacity of the fuel tank, so I think this one is only 120 gallons. It's not exactly a large fuel tank. It's the consumption is a little optimistic in the model. Typically, they seem to get roughly 1 mile per gallon, more or less. And this setup here, we can get up to 2. So I could force it to be closer to 1 mile per gallon, but with a 120 mile tank, 120 gallon, 120 mile tank range, that is not great. So I'm happy for it to be closer to 2. Let's go ahead and find a job. Santa Cruz, so we want something short distance, I should say. There's no short girl jokes here, I'll have you know. That is not a short trip. I could try. I don't really think I want to do a special delivery. No, okay. So let's go in external contracts. What have we got? Wheel loader. That might be interesting. Wheel loader to San Francisco. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's quite a heavy-ish cargo. This truck is more than capable of that. Though there is a caveat. Let's jump back into... okay. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to travel to our destination. Let's get some lights on first. There we go. Quick show off of the truck at sort of dawn. It's got the electric paint job. I think it looks kind of cool in a sort of weird way. We've got the aerodynamics package on here. The sleepers can have or do have more aero packaging on here, but I'm not going to unduly concern myself with that. And so yeah, this bad boy is she's, I guess, bad boy. Is it a he or a she truck? I'm going to assume that it's a she. She's pretty quiet.
Keep left, and then turn left.
And something that I've come to appreciate testing and driving around the hybrid fuel cell is how much noise there is in the game. There's actually quite a bit of noise that you may not appreciate some of the time because you're too busy listening to the engine. So yeah, it is what it is. What's that telling me? Okay. Right, now I don't have traction or anti-lock brakes turned on. Normally I would, but there's a reason why I've got it turned off here today, and we'll get into that. We're probably going to experience it. So a little bit more information about this truck. Yes, the fuel cell delivers electricity, which is used to drive the electric motors. Now this truck has a 6x2. Now what that means is it's got 3 axles, I guess 6 wheels, although technically Well, in this case, it does use the super wide tires, but it's a 6x2, so it's got 3 axles. The front one are the steers, and the ones behind, only one of those is powered. Let's get my cruise on at 40, like so. The game can be a little janky, this part of California, but it is very pretty, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay. So you heard there a little bit of skidding. It's kind of sensitive to the brakes. Don't have a retarder enabled, and right now my engine brake's turned off. Now, ATS does support full electric vehicles. You can tell apart time that it is electric, and separate to this, to the hydrogen engine, I do have a full electric version of the truck.
Keep left, and then turn left.
You can't recharge them. You can do an emergency recharge, but hydrogen, at least you can fill it. Okay, so where's there it is, there's the cargo. So specs, in terms of performance and drivetrain configuration, yep, 6x2, so only one axle is powered. As is quite typical for these sorts of vehicles, if you had a 6x4, you'd have twice the power and twice the torque. That is noisy. Guess I'll hook up the trailer and then I'll talk a little bit more about those specs in just a second. May have missed this. I have. So it's quite difficult to maneuver the truck at low speeds because it's got that much torque at essentially 0 RPM. It's not quite 0. It's really hard to maneuver it cleanly. Wrong button. There we go. Alright, I'm going to close the windows because they are noisy. It's a little bit better. Okay, let's get out of here. So, maximum power, it has an instantaneous maximum power rating of 386 horsepower and a peak torque of 2255 foot-pounds. Now, I'm using a multi-torque configuration on the engine. So you only get the full torque in the top 2 gears. Otherwise you get quite a bit less. It's something like 1500 foot-pounds of torque. I think it's 1501 from memory. The continuous power rating is 268 from memory.
Turn right.
I spent so long playing around with this engine, I forget what its continuous rated power is. But it's quite a bit less. Now, the way I've set this up is at cruise engine speeds, you get the continuous rated power. If you do extend the engine up to, I think, 1800 or 1900 RPM, you reach full power. It's about the best compromise I've found, because the game doesn't have a mechanic for how this sort of powertrain is going to work.
Keep left, and then turn left.
And let me explain what I mean. So a hydrogen fuel cell truck, because of the way that the hydrogen fuel cell operates, so it is best operated at, it likes to be run at a fairly steady rate. Okay, so that's at odds with how we drive. Now, if at a constant cruise, great. You know, you can run it at a fairly steady rate, rise and fall with gradients, fine. Let's negotiate this corner. We'll use both lanes, okay. So the way that we smooth out the power use is there is a rechargeable battery in this truck. So in a sense, this is a bit of a hybrid. you have a fuel cell that delivers energy to a rechargeable battery that itself delivers energy to the electric motor. Now that battery is capable of producing enough energy to get the wheels to be producing 386 horsepower. But the fuel cell can only deliver 268 horsepower's worth of energy. And that's why you've got a continuous rating and an instantaneous or a short-term rating. But all that means is that when you're climbing a hill like we are now, if I were to down change, in fact, let's just try that. Right now, we're going to be getting closer to producing full power, but we're not actually accelerating. I think the hill's got a bit steeper, so it's not really proving my point. Yeah, and it works better in the higher gears as well. It's got a bit more torque that it can play around with. In fact, that said, yeah, you can't produce peak power, and it's complicated, and the way I can simulate this is not perfect, but it works fairly well. Yeah, I gotta bring my speed down. Transmission here, we've actually borrowed the transmission from the Scania e-truck. That is a 6-speed. It works with pretty much any transmission you care to throw at it. I was tempted to use a Detroit diesel 12-speed, but decided for simplicity's sake we'll go with the 6-speed. It works just as well as any other engine with more gears. Some advantages, some disadvantages, but overall you don't need lots of gears to get the most from this. Well, actually no, that's not true. You don't need the most gears. Having more gears makes life a little easier, but it's not essential. Okay, I'm getting quite a bit of jank playing the game, and it's making it a little difficult to concentrate. Okay. So here we are cruising at 55 in top gear, which is an overdrive. And we're doing, what, 1200 revs, give or take? Maybe 1100. Mileage is not good because when we climb a hill, 1.4 miles per gallon. Yeah, a lot of jank. But where this truck is in its element.
Keep right, then exit right.
Okay, come on, Subaru. Where this truck is, well, I almost missed that, is in its element is the short haul delivery market. And the reason there is primarily for the fact that its range is limited, but also the way that this engine delivers its torque. There's a lot of torque at very, very low speeds. It's pretty good at stop-start. Now I'm taking pains to tune this engine so it's a little bit more diesel-like and doesn't want to spin its wheels from rest, and you don't really want that. The 6x2 is very readily going to spin its wheels because you've just not got the weight. You've not got all the traction that you could have. The 6x4, well, it's got twice the power, so 770 something, and in theory twice the traction. In theory, so there it has some other issues with that configuration. But hoofing around town, San Francisco, San Jose, Los Angeles, any of the big cities, is where this combination really seems to come into its own. And did I mention it's quiet? I mean, if I would shut up, you'd see how quiet it was. Acceleration is a little wanting, but we do have a 45,000 pound cargo behind us, and I believe a 20,000 pound trailer. So I'm going to cut it some slack, because at the end of the day, it's not exactly a powerful powertrain. And it's weirdly quiet. Actually, I need to move the left-hand lane. And this fire truck's not going to let me over. Yep, I know. now I can move over. All the way. I should be pretty familiar with this. Let me over, car. Wow. I mean, if you like, you can give me a few inches, you know.
Keep left.
So this is a run I've done quite a few times. The Santa Cruz San Francisco trip is great for playing around with this kind of powertrain, because at the end of the day, this is where I envisage this type of truck being most useful. Emissions at the street level are essentially zero. Now that's ignoring the issue getting a hydrogen out and ready and in the tanks and so on and so forth. I think my trailer just yes, it did. Well, we'll ignore that for the purposes of the video, but yeah, my trailer just impacted with the side. Well, it's not my trailer, but anyway. So yeah, it's not speedy, and it's chewing through an enormous amount of hydrogen gas. So my tank was pretty much full when I left this morning, and it's just over half a tank right now. So it's not efficient. Volumetric efficiency, I should say. That's not its strength.
Turn right.
Still,
Keep right. And then turn right.
it's an enjoyable concept to play around with. Is this going to be a mainstream engine? Is this going to make it to the Steel Productions engine pack? Right now, I don't think so. Though I am thinking about having some sort of oddities engine pack. I think that could be a lot of fun. And if you think that you'd be interested in that, just leave me a comment below. Just let me know. And the more people that are interested, then there's more chance of me doing this. I can play around with different engines and technologies and ideas and concepts, kind of breaking the game engine sometimes as well. Let's get the windows down. Let's listen to how noisy San Francisco is.
Keep right. And then turn right.
I think Doug's the noisiest thing right now.
Turn right.
So entranceway to the yard here is going to be very troublesome to get into with this long trailer. But okay, so if this light stays to green, that will really help me out. It did. Okay, so let's get my four ways on.
Turn right.
Using the four ways helps stop other traffic from not overtaking. Ah, it's a building site. Okay, let's see where they want me to put this. Where should I place it? Oh, right down the bottom. Okay. I mean, how hard can that be, right? Yeah, we'll see, because it's gonna be a real challenge. So engine braking is not really a strength of the electric motor. So I've got my engine brake on right now, and it will downshift aggressively, but yeah, it's rolling away from us. It's difficult. No, it's not difficult. I haven't been able to get an authentic recharge. What's we're doing there? I think we're fine. Yep, I'm aware there's something next to me. It's called a mountain. Okay. Alright, that wasn't anywhere near as difficult as I feared it might be. Okay, well, in theory, we should be lined up just about where we need it. Maybe. I'm going to say that is close enough. Yeah, it's going to work for me. Alright, let's see how well we did in terms of, well, I can see it's about, what, 1.6 or so, I think. 57.4 gallons. I guess it's a 120 gallon tank, or a 100 gallon tank, but that is 1.6 miles per gallon. So that gives us maybe 150 miles range. Really not that much. So this is not exactly a long haul truck. Alright, well that just about does it for today's video. Thanks so much everyone. Goodbye.